Good morning. I hope everything's going great in your life today and that it's the beginning of a tremendous week for you. I want to look with you this morning at one final study on Jesus' miracles in the Gospel of John. It's in John chapter 21, and it's after Jesus has been raised from the dead, after he had had some of the appearances. And then in this chapter, it tells about Peter and James and John and Andrew and maybe some others that went out fishing. Peter had said to the others, well, I'm going fishing. You can imagine in this time where Jesus is appearing once in a while, and it's really in between that time of Jesus being raised and then the establishment of the church, and they're in some just sense of I think not knowing what in the world they're doing and what's going on. So Peter says, let's go fishing. And they go out with him. They fish all night, didn't catch a thing. And then early in the morning, Jesus appears on the shore. They don't know it's Jesus, but he yells out to them. They're about 100 yards out, it says, and he yells, did you catch anything? No. Fished all night, didn't catch a thing. Well, throw your net on the other side and you'll catch a good catch. And so they did. Brought in 153 large fish that they had trouble getting in. And then when they get the fish in, John says to Peter, it's the Lord. Peter grabs his clothes and puts them on, jumps in the water and swims to shore. When he gets there, Jesus has a fire going and fish already being cooked. Obviously, another miracle has happened because he's got the fish on the fire, cooking them for their breakfast, and they haven't brought theirs in. Now, when they get in with the fish in the net, and Peter helps them pull them in, evidently they counted them because John says there's 153 large fish, and then Jesus said, bring some of those you caught and we'll cook them with this. And then they ate. And it was after that Jesus took Peter aside, at least to some degree. We don't know whether the others were all there listening or just what. But Jesus said to Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Peter's deeply hurt that the Lord would ask him that. Oh, Lord, you know I love you. Feed my sheep. Simon, son of John, do you love me? Oh, Lord, you know I love you. Take care of my sheep. Tend my sheep. Simon, son of John, do you love me? And Peter's heart is broken because he asked him a third time, do you love me? And he said, yes, Lord, you know everything. You know I love you. Take care of my lambs. And then Jesus took Peter aside and talked to him about his coming death, challenged him to follow him, and said that day is going to come when you've always been able to take care of yourself, but when you won't be able to, and others will have to take care of you. And he talked about his impending death and then challenged him once again to follow me. Peter, as almost typical of Peter, turned around and saw John, said, well, Lord, what about him? And Jesus said, if it's my will that John live till I come again. What is that to you? You follow me. I want you to see just 2 or 3 things in all of this. Number one, when Jesus calls us, he does long to know of our love. Oh, I know he knows everything, but there's something important about Peter, who had denied the Lord 3 times, confessing his love for him 3 times as well. But it's not just declaring the love. Jesus wanted him to know that tied to loving me is taking care of my people. it's tending, it's feeding, it's looking after my sheep. I want you to shepherd my sheep. And so, Peter, if you love me, then look after those that love me and are striving to follow me. Be that one that takes care of them. What an amazing point. It just seems to me that when I see the loyalty that I ought to have toward my Lord, for Jesus to turn that around and say, yes, now you say you love me. Listen, loving me involves loving and taking care of my people, my sheep. If I say, well, Lord, I love you, but I can't stand these people. I don't know what it is about your church or about your people, but I just have trouble with them. And Jesus, in essence, is saying to us, no, that won't work. If you really love me, then involved in that love is taking care of, shepherding, and looking after and loving my sheep in this life. I just want you to grasp something in this that is often very challenging for us. And that is, Jesus doesn't accept our just saying, I love you, but I'm not going to share that love with those that you love or those who love you. Lord, I just love you and what you've done for me and all of that, but these people are all, they're problems. Jesus said, no, if you really love me, tend my sheep. Look after them. See, Jesus had said earlier in John 10, I have other sheep that are not of this fold. They're not of this group. I want you to be that one that is looking after the sheep even when they're injured and hurting and need your tender care. I want you to be that one because I see you as that kind of sheep as well. And I'm asking others to take care of you. See, it's that kind of thing when we are among the sheep of the Lord that follow Him as our chief shepherd, that a lot of what is involved in our life is looking after one another and loving one another even when we're not all that lovable. And even when it takes a whole lot of effort on our part to have that kind of love. Jesus tenderly cared for and ministered to Simon Peter. But he challenged him. Don't look around and wonder about others. Don't try to compare yourself with John. Just follow me. That's the key. And I want to tell you, that's exactly what the Lord is saying to each of us today. Stop looking around at everybody else and saying, but what about them, Lord? Follow Jesus every step of the way. It'll change your life. It'll bless your life, but it will turn you into someone that is looking after and caring for the sheep that are trying to follow the Lord along with you. Jesus is a wonderful shepherd, and He calls us to be one as well. Let's be that shepherd for our Lord and for His sheep. What a difference it'll make in our life and in theirs. God bless you.